What's up, everybody? My name is Daniel Unmanageable, and this is Hard Knox Talks. What would I like to say first? First, I would like to thank my sponsors, the Prairie Node of the Canadian Research Initiative in Substance Misuse and Prairie Sky Recovery Center here in Saskatchewan. So, tonight's guest, Derek Halldorson, is going to talk about how he went from peeking out windows to the president of the Bricklayers and Allied Craft Workers Union Local 1SK, and we are going to meet him right after this. It didn't work. Right after this. Oh, hang on. Here we go. Right after this. Hey, there we go. If that's the worst thing that happens tonight, we're good. I'm all alone tonight. No producer.
I spent 23 years living in addiction. 16 of those years I worked as a Red Seal tradesperson in Saskatchewan and Northern Alberta. During that time, I made many mistakes and took more than a few hard knocks. I went from tradesman to business owner to hiding from gang members and dumpster diving. But with that lived experience, I've decided to try and make a change. I've dedicated my life to raising awareness and promoting change in the fields of substance use and psychological health and safety. So join me and my guests as we take off the blinders around mental health in our communities and at work and shine a light on what's working and what's not working in the fields of mental health and occupational health and safety. I'm Daniel Unmanageable, and I'll be your host, and this is Hard Knox Talks.
Okay, so I didn't say this earlier, but tonight I do usually have a producer, but I have got this thing tonight. And look, it's cool because the buttons are green, so it's like you can, like, whoa. But anyways, every one of those buttons does something different. Like this, for example. Let's find Derek. Oh, what's up, Derek?
Hey, guys. Hey, Dan. Thanks for having me on. Definitely a little bit nervous tonight, but seeing all those comments actually kind of brought a tear to my eyes. So I'm expecting this to get a little emotional tonight. Thank you all for the comments. Much appreciated. Love you all. So definitely looking forward to this. So
awesome. Well, we've got another one coming in for you. Do you know Jacob?
Yes, I know Jacob. One of my brothers from down south. So thanks for coming on, Jacob.
Yes, thank you for the comment, Jacob. Are you ready for the flashback, my friend?
Yes, I am.
Let's do it. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up, Derek?
Okay, thanks, Dan. For me, I came from a loving family. I had two very loving, supportive parents, loving, supported grandparents, aunts and uncles. They supported me in whatever I did. I was big into hockey right from when I was little. My grandparents followed me out through my whole career. My parents worked very hard to be able to provide so that I could play hockey. For a couple summers, I played summer hockey out of Brandon, Manitoba. So that meant driving to Brandon every second weekend for weekend practice, and then going off to tournaments in Minneapolis and Edmonton, Calgary, different places across Western Canada. And then in my later hockey careers, my parents had decided that they needed to find me some more competitive hockey, and I started playing out of Yorkton, which was about an hour away from Kamsack. So that meant, me driving to Yorkton 2, 3, 4 times a week for practices, games. We played all across southern Saskatchewan for those 3 years. So I know having kids of my own, and they're in hockey, and I know how much it costs. So how much they would have had to spend. Plus, never mind the time. Working all day and then having to get home from work, get kids fed, and then drive us off to Yorkton for hockey practice. So I'm definitely very appreciative of that.
Was there any substance use at home?
No, no, not at all. Like I was thinking back after we talked last weekend, Dan. I think I remembered once when my dad was drunk and once when my mom was drunk, and that's about it. I was told that I had an uncle who battled with alcoholism, but I've never seen him drunk. So there was no kind of substance abuse or anything in my household at all growing up.
Yeah. So how was your relationships going through school with friends and teammates?
Through school. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm done. Give her.
Oh, I'm sorry. My relationships in school were good, right? I was the hockey player, right? So the jock, the so-called in crowd or cool crowd, whatever you want to call it. I definitely have a different outlook on what that is nowadays. But I mean, my relationships were relatively good. The only thing that I could really think of is I was a chubby kid growing up, and I got made fun of for my weight. And I mean that might have been some of the stem of where some of my insecurities and inadequacies and I mean that little bit of lower self-worth could have started. I didn't think it really affected me much back then. Obviously once you get clean, you start looking back at your life and possibly what could have caused some of the problems that you went throughout my life. So otherwise, when I was in CAMSEC, my relationships were great. I later on moved to Saskatoon to play hockey and went to school there. And that was a little different situation. I was really shy, and the only relationships I had in school were the people that I played hockey with. But I mean, we'll get into the hockey stuff a little later. So
how old were you the first time you got drunk?
First time I got drunk, I think it was around 13 or 14 years old, I think. And a bunch of us decided to have a party. For some reason, I decided to go with butter brickle, whipping cream, and beer. I don't really know where I got that combination from, but it wasn't very good. It was good when it started, but yeah, it was not good at all. But I don't remember a whole lot from the party. I remember eventually getting sick, and then I remember I being one of the last ones going, and that was my go-to. I was always the last one going at the party.
Yeah.
But I remember I was upstairs throwing up, and then I came to go down the stairs because the party was down the stairs, and I stumbled down the first set of stairs and kind of run into the door. And then when I went down the second set of stairs, I fell and went right through the door. And I think it was a smoking room or something. I went through the door, boom, landed on the floor, and the two guys in the smoking room just started laughing at me. So it was one of those things where I had to go full out no matter what.
Yeah. You're talking about butter brickle and stuff, and I'm like, I actually don't ever remember the flavor of the alcohol preventing me from drinking it. Like that wasn't a thing. Like I would drink the rankest scotch, the cheapest stuff you could find. If it got the job done, I'm happy. So
I just know this combination of butter ripple and whipping cream made me extremely sick, but it could have been the fact that I drank so much. Either or, I don't know.
No, it wasn't the amount. It was the whipped cream that did it. Yes.
Yeah.
So after your first drunk, were you in all the way, or was it just sort of like a weekend thing for you, or how did that look?
No, it was just a one-day thing, and for me, my main focus growing up was hockey. That was my life. I played summer hockey. I played hockey all year round. That was my thing. I wanted to make it to the NHL. That was my goal. And so everything was focused on hockey. And I maybe got drunk a couple more times after that before heading off to play junior hockey in Saskatoon. But it wasn't something where I was in all right. Not gonna lie, I enjoyed the feeling. I enjoyed the rush from getting drunk, but it wasn't something that I needed all the time or was all in right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. And so how was hockey? Tell us about that.
Hockey, well, hockey was interesting. It was fun. I was 16 years old. When I was 15, I was drafted in the third round by the Saskatoon Blades. So when I was 16, I ended up moving away from home, put in a house with billets to play hockey in Saskatoon. I never really knew I was a shy guy because when I was around CAMSEC, I was big, I was loud, you know what I mean? I was the life of the party when I did party, and that's just how I was. But when I went to Saskatoon, I realized I was an extremely shy person. And I don't know if that started with my inadequacies or insecurities or what it was, but You know what I mean? With my teammates, it took a long time before I warmed up with them. Usually, I think it was probably after the first time we got drunk, and you know, I'm gonna get drunk and make an ass of myself, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, he's fun to be around. Or I thought that was the case,
Yeah.
right? But but in school, it was I just hung out with my teammates, and that was it. You know, I mean, I struggled making friends with other people. Lots of times, I would hear that people thought I was arrogant or stuck up or cocky or whatever, and that wasn't the case. I was just a really shy person until, you know, you get a few drinks in me, and then right away I'm the life of the party.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was definitely an eye opener because you get away from home, you don't have rules. I was 16 years old, and when I was 16, I was 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, and I can grow full facial hair. So you know what I mean. I was going to I was going to the bar with the older guys as a 16-year-old kid. And, you know, I'm going to get drunk all night and go home, get a couple hours of sleep, and go to school. And, you know, I mean, that's where, you know, I mean, drinking started coming more and more. And then, you know, I mean, we'd have parties at my house after and whatnot. And, I mean, going to school and trying to not throw up in school and eventually having to run down to the bathroom because you got to throw up and whatnot. So, you know, that's where I started to, I guess, you know, I mean, the drinking became more of a thing, and you know, I mean, learning to play hockey hungover. So,
So, and then you started smoking weed. How old were you when that started happening?
I was about 16 years old. When I went home at Christmas after my 16-year-old year, I had a buddy who did it, and you know, I mean, I enjoyed beer, so I'm like, wait, let's try the next thing. So, smoked a little bit of weed over the Christmas holidays. Went back to Saskatoon for the remainder of the season. Didn't touch it. Just, you know, I mean, wasn't sure how to bring it up around people and stuff. I did enjoy it. But yeah, so I didn't touch it for a little bit, and then our year end came, and usually when the year end comes in hockey, you have a little bit of a bender for a few days, and ours consisted of grabbing a 66 of whiskey, and me and my roommates sitting on our front lawn in our underwear, pounding back whiskey and waving at all the people driving by.
I've done that. That's fun. That's fun, man.
Oh, you'd be amazing how many people stopped in and stuff. But the only problem was the people living next door were the people that were doing our fitness testing for the hockey team the next day or 2 days later, whatever, right? Well, of course, they reported that to our general manager and coaches and stuff, and it kind of started me in the bad books for upcoming seasons and stuff. But anyways, after the season ended, I went back to Campsec and started doing weed a lot more. It was an everyday thing for a little while. I'd have my buddy pick me up at lunch at school. We'd drive out into the gravel roads or whatnot, and you know, get extremely high, and then go back to school and sit in the back of class, and hopefully the teacher didn't notice. And that carried on for a couple of weeks. And after school, he'd pick me up. We'd go get high until it was time to go home, go to bed, and sneak in. I was living with my grandparents at the time, sneak in my grandparents' house, and hopefully they didn't see me and go to bed. And that carried on until I was in Yorkton one time, and we were at a place for chicken wings. It was kind of like a bar, but they allowed minors in there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And there's a police officer from Campsec there, and he decides to pull me outside to have a chat with me. And he pulls me out and he starts chatting about hockey and how's hockey going and all this, and yeah, you're doing really good and all this stuff. And then he just turned a switch and just started swearing at me. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing smoking weed?" He's like, "We could have busted you so many times." He's like, "What the fuck?" Like, he's just swearing at me.
Yeah.
And then he's told me a story about a buddy that he had that played hockey and ended up killing himself because he got involved in drugs and whatnot and ended up committing suicide. And that
Sorry
scared
to hear that.
it scared the shit out of me. Yeah. And it stopped me. I stopped smoking weed for the rest of the summer. The only problem is I continued drinking. And when you're playing junior hockey, you have to have a pretty regiment training, routine throughout the summer, which I didn't really adhere to. And I ended up going back to camp probably 20 or 30 pounds overweight. And this was my NHL draft year going into. I should have been going home and working, my butt off so I could prepare and hopefully get drafted into the National Hockey League. But I ended up, going back 30 pounds overweight. That's when I ended up having to start, fighting in hockey to be able to make sure I stuck around with the team because, I was out of shape, I was slower, but I had to do something so that I could stay on the hockey team.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I want to acknowledge something here right now before the moment passes. Right now we have 56 live viewers. This is the most viewers we've ever had at one time, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. Thank you for hearing our message. So, anyways,
Thanks,
sorry. I had to throw that in there before the moment passed.
Just make me a little bit more nervous too.
Yes. Well, that's only on Facebook. We don't know how many are watching on Twitch and YouTube right now.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, thanks a lot. I told you not to tell me how many guys. Or how many people were
I know. I remember you telling me that. Yeah. Anyways, we've got Aslan tuning in too, or chiming in. Thank you for watching, Aslan. I hope I'm saying that right. Am I saying Aislinn? Am I saying that right? I'm sorry. I've seen your name on Facebook for years, and I've never said it out loud, so I'm sorry if I said it wrong. We've got one more coming here too. We've got Sarah.
Oh, Sarah.
Yes, thank you, Sarah, for watching.
Sarah.
Thank you for your support. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
So, okay. So, did you know at the time, like when all this was going on, did you have some awareness that you were screwing up, or were you just like, these guys don't know what they're talking about? Because that's what I was like when I was that age.
I obviously think I had no idea. Well, no, I knew I was screwing up, but I didn't know what I was jeopardizing. You know what I mean? It wasn't until later in life that when I look back, I'm like, holy smokes. Like I'm not saying I could have made the NHL. Like the NHL is such a fine line to get there. Like it's, you know what I mean? It's you have to be in the right place, right time, right skill, everything. Like there's tons of different things that had to be in place to get there. But there was guys that I played with and against, you know what I mean, that I put up as good as numbers as and different things. But again, I'm not saying I would have been there. My biggest regret is I didn't put the effort in to give me the best chance to get there. And, you know what I mean, that played a huge role in my addiction. You know what I mean, the shame and the guilt, you know what I mean, from not putting in that effort. That, you know, I mean, if I would have trained harder in the summer, it would have possibly given me better opportunity. Or even if I didn't play in the NHL, it could have took me to many different places. You know, I mean, Europe, other places and stuff like that I could have got to see with my hockey career. But instead, you know, I mean, the bottle was more important. Yeah. And back at that time, no, I didn't realize what I was jeopardizing. And you know, I knew I was screwing up, but I didn't know what it was going to cost me in the long run.
Yeah. Okay, we've got some comments coming in. We are going to say, don't worry, we'll get to all your comments. So most of them are just saying how much we love Derek, so I could just...
I don't need to start crying yet, so...
Yeah. So, okay, so you got injured at some point. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I suffered from many different injuries throughout my hockey career. You know, I mean, I had separated shoulders. I ended up with what was called osteitis pubis, which is an inflamed pubic bone. Had numerous cortisone injections in my pubic bone and my shoulders. I had a broken sinus cavity from a fight, broken noses. Broken fingers. You know, I mean, like throughout my junior career, I probably was in 70 or 80 hockey fights.
Holy! How many did you win?
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie. I was a pretty gifted fighter. I wasn't the strongest guy, but the thing with me is I could take a punch.
Like so, you don't look like the kind of guy that I want to fight. Like I'm not gonna lie. You know, like.
Well, with me is I could take a punch. So if it went punch for punch, eventually the other guy would lose.
Just get tired.
You know what I mean? You gave me that a million times and it wasn't affect me, right? Whether or not that plays a role in things nowadays, I it was kind of my role. You know, I mean, I played that rough and gritty role as a hockey player. You know, I mean, for the 4 years I was in Saskatoon, anyways, and then you know, as I went to Prince George, I got put in a different role and stuff. But.
Yeah. So did they ever give you painkillers?
Yeah, I had a few different painkillers like Tylenol 3 or T3s or whatever they're called.
That's come on. That's not what I'm talking about, bro. Come on.
No. I know. And you know, I mean, morphine. I had morphine a couple times and whatnot, but that was never my thing. Those things really, honest to God, I kind of hated them. You know, when I was on morphine, I hated the feeling of them. And stuff. So it was like I took them as prescribed and that was it. Later on in life, I'd use them to come down, but that's a whole another story. But yeah, back then, the painkillers wasn't an issue for me. So
yeah. So were you like looked up at? Bleh, let me try that again. Were you looked up at because of the way you were drinking, like last man standing? I remember when I was like 16, 17, like we would hold those people in high regard, like, oh, we want to be like that guy. There was this guy named Pigpen in my town, and yeah, no one could stop him.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know if I was looked up at, but I was known as a partier, right?
Yeah.
In my final year of junior, I got traded to Prince George. Ended up having the best season of my life. I scored 40 goals that year, which was top 20 in the Western Hockey League, and I was top in many different categories. But also, that's when the drinking went more and more. When I played in Saskatoon, we had really strict rules. We'd only be allowed to party once a month. We weren't allowed in bars and whatnot. And when I got traded to Prince George, the rules had changed. And when I got there, a couple guys had played with former teammates of mine, so they knew, they knew I like to have fun. So right away, the minute I got there for training camp, they're asking me to come out for the night and whatnot. So, but there we were able to go to bars. We were able to, party as much as we would want, as long as we were performing on the ice, and I was performing on the ice. The funny thing about Prince George, that's also the first place that I ever saw cocaine, which ended up being my drug of choice. I remember we were at a bar someplace, and I walked into the washroom, and there's a guy in the bathroom stall, and he's got a line on the little toilet paper dispenser, and at that time I'm like, fuck this, I'll never do that shit. Like, I'm never ever gonna touch that stuff. Weed's the worst thing I'll ever do, and I'll ever touch it. So I'm like, no, I don't want it, and I left or whatever and whatnot, right? But like Prince George was an amazing place for me, and I had lots of fun. But that's where the drinking really started to take over my life and stuff. Like I said, I was able to drink all night and then show up to practice or games or whatever the next day and play like nothing happened the night before. So
yeah. So when did you do cocaine for the first time?
When I did cocaine for the first time was when I went down south to play hockey in South Carolina. After I was done my season in Prince George, I signed a contract with they were called the PD Pride in Florence, South Carolina. That's when Prince George was bad for partying. This place even got worse.
Uh-huh.
It was pretty much like a paid vacation for 8 months in South Carolina. A beautiful state. We had free golf on 2 or 3 different golf courses in and around Florence. So my schedule consisted of getting in the rink at 9:00, practice at 10. Home by noon. We'd grab lunch, and then we'd head out to the golf course with a case or two of beer, and it would start there, and then it would just transpire into the bar later that night. So if we didn't have a game the next day, we were pretty much drunk the whole time. So, definitely, it was getting over. And this is the thing, like I could party till 5, 6 in the morning, get 2 hours of sleep, and then go hit the ice, practice, hit the hot shower after, and then do it all again the next day.
Yeah.
But I still remember, I think it was around Christmas time, I came into my apartment, and there was one of the players and a couple girls and a big mound of cocaine on the coffee table. And at that time I was disgusted. I'm like, really, you guys are doing this in my apartment?
Yeah.
And I was kind of pissed off at the time. And then about 2 weeks later, I'm like, let me try it.
Yeah, screw this.
And yeah. Fuck it. Well, screw this.
This is all your guys' fault. Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those drugs that I fell in love with. The first time it hit me. I'm home. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, holy.
Were you surprised? Were you like, oh, this all makes sense now?
I don't know. It was crazy. Like it was like, holy shit. Like where's this been? Why haven't I done this before? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The mouth.
Yeah.
I remember going to the bar and a few of the players' wives are like, hey, Haldy, you need to get some gum. Like, get some gum or whatever.
What do you mean? I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
You need some gum.
Yeah, so and me and a couple of the buddies, we hung out with some guys that owned some golf courses. So like I never paid for it. We'd pull up to the party, there'd be mounds of it on the table and have at it, right? So I did that for a little bit while I was down south, and then once the season came to an end, I ended up coming back to Regina.
Okay. So what ended your hockey career?
it was a number of things. This is where this is going to get tough for me because I'm going to bring up something that I've never really talked about before with many people. Many people don't know this about me. But I ended up. She was a girlfriend, and I ended up getting her pregnant. And decided that I wanted to. Not so much that I quit hockey. Then I just wanted to take that year off of hockey to be home for when the baby was born. And then obviously, the drinking played a large role too because getting out of shape and not going back. But yeah, and then like I said, this is one of those things that many people that are probably listening that know me don't know this about me. But yeah, like I said, I wanted to stick around and be home for when the baby was born.
And how did that go?
Well, looking back, I have a different, I guess, view or outlook of the whole situation. At the time, I blamed her, right? But during the pregnancy, I think I was already struggling from not being able to play hockey, but I wasn't the best, I guess, boyfriend you could say. I spent a lot of time still partying and going out when I should have been staying home and supportive. I wasn't very supportive when she called me to tell me that she was pregnant. It scared me. I didn't know what to do. She actually ended up being the one telling my parents. Sorry.
Okay, take your time, man.
But after she had the baby, I was there for all of it. She ended up coming to my parents' house a couple weeks later, and then she decided that I wasn't, or it wasn't best that I be involved. So then she kind of just disappeared.
Did she party a lot too, or?
She did a bit. She we were young, right? Partying was a thing, right? But she decided that she was going to be a mom and whatnot and take care of the baby. And I decided, well, it was more important for me to party and spend all the money than save up and support her and the baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she disappeared, and that was definitely tough for me. I don't know if this was when I realized it or maybe earlier in life, but and this was the stem of a lot of my problems with addictions and whatnot is I struggled expressing myself.
Many men do. Yes.
Oh man, I struggled. I didn't want anyone to know that anything was bothering me. So instead of coming to somebody and say, no, I don't feel right about this, I fucked up or whatever, I just kept it inside, and I didn't talk to anybody about it, and then so I didn't end up doing anything about it. I have a lot of regrets from that. I don't for 1 second regret not playing hockey that year to see the baby. I don't regret that one bit. I'm glad I did that. I'm so grateful I did that. I'm grateful I was there for that. But I definitely regret, my behavior when I found out she was pregnant, my behavior throughout the pregnancy, and then I regret not doing anything after. I could have went to. Go ahead.
Sorry, finish your thought. Well, we're stopped. We're stopped now. I was going to say we've got a comment. I thought there was going to be a pause there. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break that, but we've got to...
No, I'll go back. Let's see the comment. I need a little bit of a breather. Anyway.
Yeah, we've got John chiming in. Thanks for watching tonight, John. Appreciate it. John asks, have you ever had the chance to make any amends with her? Pretty heavy question there, John.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it's... the addiction was not her fault at all. It was my inability to be able to deal with what was going on in my head and my heart, and all the regret I had of everything that happened around that situation. It was tough. I hated the mother for years and years and years
for taking off.
For taking off.
Yeah.
And she was just doing what she thought was best. She was young too, right? And she was just doing what she thought was best for her and the baby. And probably at that time it was. I was starting to become that piece of shit addict, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was losing sense of myself. As for John's questions, I'll touch on that a bit because I have made some progress on that end, and it actually has helped me out tremendously. But yeah, it took 4 years. I'm clean and sober 4 years now, and it took 4 years to make this. Thank you very much. It took 4 years for me to make this amends. Mm-hmm. One, because I was scared of rejection still from her because it's like you said, when you learn with amends, you have to be ready for or go in with no expectations and kind of be able to handle anything. Like I had to go in with an expectation that the worst thing was going to happen because I had to make sure that I was going to be able to handle that. That I was going to be able to handle, nope, she doesn't want nothing to do with you, or nope, she doesn't want to see you, or just maybe no answer at all. But it was only a couple weeks ago that I ended up sending an email apologizing for my behavior. Regretting that I never did anything about it. It was a good long email, and a couple of days went by, I didn't get a response, and that's what I expected. And then I got a response, and it was a super long response. It was what I kind of expected. Even though I expected it, though, it did send me on an emotional roller coaster for a couple of days. There's a couple of things in there that I expected, but they were still hard to handle. But also many good things came about it. She told me how amazing that my daughter was doing in school and everything, and that she's well loved and well taken care of. She just explained she's not ready to meet me yet. And when I went through treatment, one of the things was, let her come to me. She's built her life. I can't go barging in there now. I have to wait for her to come. It's not her fault. It was my fault. It wasn't my daughter's fault. She's had a built life of her own. She doesn't need me barging in there with whatever going on in her life. And I have to let her come with me. But the thing is, one, I wanted the mother.
Here's a question. When because I know when a lot of people stop using, they want to just like run out and start saying sorry to everybody. Was this something that you wanted to do early on and that you were told to wait, or did it just you finally work up the nerve? What did that look like for you?
No, I wasn't one of those people because I said sorry so many times while I was using that my apologies meant nothing to many people. I needed to get out there and prove to people that I had changed, that I was a different person, that I wasn't the same undependable, lying, manipulative, self-centered person that I was in active addiction. I did learn some of that in treatment, obviously, but I knew from what I learned in treatment and whatnot, and just from personal experience, that I couldn't go out there and just start to say, hey, sorry, I'm sorry, right? Mm-hmm. I needed to, build that foundation and prove to people that I'm not that person anymore. You can trust me. I'll be dependable. I'll be there when you call me. All those kinds of things before I went in there and started saying sorry to people. I had to make those living amends first.
Mm-hmm. So what did life look like for you after hockey?
Well, with that and hockey becoming an end, that's kind of where my life started to, spiral downhill, right? Or spiral or go downhill or whatever you want to call it. I started playing hockey in a little community called Saudi, which is a great community. Had tons of fun there.
I've got relatives in Saudi.
I started. Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
And then I started in the bricklaying field here in Regina. I had a family friend who was a superintendent with one of the bigger companies here in the province of Saskatchewan, and I started in that. And I did that for about a year while I was playing hockey in Saudi. Having lots of fun, and stuff. And this was still while the girl was pregnant with my child, right? And then after that came to an end. And our first season ended in Saudi, which was a lot of fun. We had a really good team. I had a buddy at the time who decided to convince me that I should try university. I had when I played hockey in the Western Hockey League, for each year I had a year of tuition and books paid for. So I had 5 years of tuition and books paid for to go to university. So I decided at that point to get out of the bricklaying field and try my hand at university, which ended up kind of being a mistake. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So did you move up the ranks in the bricklayers?
Well, not then, because like I said, I had quit. So I ended up, like I said, I tried the university thing. It wasn't for me. I did about a semester and a half and quit. And then after that, it was like, well, what do I do now? And I was playing hockey at Selly in the time, and they had a business out there that, was a big sponsor of our hockey team, and lots of our management was working at this place, and they got me a job out there. So I started working in Saudi for a little bit. Then I said, well, hey, why not move there? So I ended up moving out to Saudi. I think it was just my escape from getting out of the city and getting away from the bars and maybe, seeing people that I used to associate with and stuff, because I was really ashamed of not being the dad I should have been, right? That was a huge issue for me. Like I hate that stuff, but I had become that person. And it caused me a lot of guilt and shame. But anyways, yeah, I ended up moving out to Saudi. And it was a great place to play, but a lot of drinking. It was a small town, right? There's not a whole lot to do. So,
before we get too far,
Yeah.
what did you go into in university? Like what did you take?
Oh, what did I go into? What did I take? I took a University 100 course because I had to upgrade some things. I took English 100, a computer science 110, geography, and then I can't remember what the other one was. In the second
Like, did you
semester.
go in with some sort of intention, like you wanted to be something
not really.
specific? No.
I thought a business degree, because that's what everybody does, right? But I when I went in, I didn't want any of the classes where I had to get up in front of I had to get up in front of people and talk or whatever. So I picked all the big classes, which are just lecture classes, because that way I didn't have to do any group stuff or anything, because I was still a little bit shy. So I just picked all those classes, and I think I passed most of them. I might have failed one, but I didn't put a whole lot of effort in, because high school wasn't for me, and neither was university either. So it was. So it was a mistake. Like, it's a good thing I didn't have to pay for my tuition and books, but I still took out an $8,000 student line of credit. Well, that went all on booze anyways. So because I was living at home with my parents and stuff, but and all that fun stuff. So
and then you met someone.
Okay. Well, yeah. In a little bit. Yeah. So anyways,
Did I miss something?
Where was I? Yeah, well, no, I think I might have missed something. So, but because I think I stopped talking about the whole Saudi thing. But I don't know. I was probably about 26 or 27, and I was working out in Saudi, and I was just like, I was starting to become unhappy, and I was like, well, what am I doing with my life? And then for some reason, I got this idea that I wanted to make a comeback at hockey. So I started getting myself back into shape. I realized I needed a little higher paying job for the summertime. So I contacted the bricklaying company that I was working for before and see if they would hire me back, and they would. So I ended up moving back to the city, working with the bricklaying company for the summer, and just working out and trying to get myself in shape for the hockey season. And then one day I was sitting there, I'm like, well, so I go play hockey for a couple of years and I get done that, then what, right? I have no career or anything. So at that point I decided that, it's time for me to make a decision and find a career. And I decided to sign up as an apprentice bricklayer with the company I was working for, union company, of course, and that's why I'm in the position I am right now. And then that's when I started my apprenticeship. And then, I went to school my first year, and then shortly after that, I ended up meeting somebody.
Okay. And how was that?
It was probably, it was one of my, I guess my longer relationships that I've had, or I guess maybe my longest one even. When we started dating, we were both from the same hometown. She was, I think she was 10 years older than me at the time. Well, she still is, but she was 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And, we started dating for a bit, and then you know, I mean, a couple months, and then she decided she wanted to move into Regina, and we ended up moving in together and whatnot. You know, I mean, leading up to that situation was actually, you know, I mean, when I started finding more and more cocaine around the city too. So, you know, I mean, I was up to before I met her. I started doing it a little more often because I kind of left this out. But when I moved back from playing down south, I couldn't find it, and you know, I mean, I was too scared to ask anybody for it. So I just kind of stopped doing it. You know, I mean, I'd find it occasionally here and there, but never ever, you know, I mean, was brave enough to ask anybody for it. But then I started finding people that were doing it. So then I started hanging out with these people, and I mean, we do it every so often. But you know, I mean, I wasn't doing it all the time yet. You know, I mean, it wasn't that addiction yet. I guess I was a social user at that time. But when I met this girl, you know, I'd stopped doing it for a couple of years. Except I remember the one time she was going away on a week-long vacation, so I decided to call up one of my buddies to come hang out, and we picked some up and did it then.
So yeah, you would like quit when she's around, and you did have some time completely away from it, correct?
Yeah, like I didn't touch it for a couple of years. But this is the thing, I don't know if it was because I didn't want to, or just because I didn't have access to it myself. And when I dated her, I wasn't really hanging out with people without her much anymore. So I didn't have that chance to, you know, I mean, go with a buddy and pick some up and sit there and, you know, I mean, have our heart to hearts all night long and whatnot we do while we were getting high, right? Now, so it's, you know, I mean, back when drugs were kind of fun.
Like, how do you really lay a brick, man? Like,
well, no, then we sit there and solve all the world problems, and we do everything, right? So it was definitely, you know, I mean, I guess it was a good time. I know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have different opinions of what good times are nowadays, but
I agree. Yeah, me too.
But but like, you know, I mean, for a couple of years, I didn't really touch it, and then when we partway through our relationship, I was starting to able to find it myself and get contacts myself. And, you know, I mean, that's when I'd start, you know, I mean, Friday night I'd pick some up, and, you know, I mean, we'd have a fire in the backyard, and, you know, I mean, I'd be sneaking away to the bathroom to have a couple lines, and then, you know, I mean, just drink a bit to hide it or whatnot. But, I mean, I did it for the last 3 years of our relationship without her, or at least thinking she had no idea that I was doing it.
Mm-hmm. And how did she catch on? Like, was it one day she confronted you? What happened there?
No, she never caught on. Like, she had found out we had broken up a couple times in the last year because I was just starting to become such a piece of shit in the relationship, right? That we had broken up, and when we broke up, people had told her that, you know, I was doing it. But then every time we get back together, I'd say we stopped, and I would continue doing it, right, until finally we broke up for good. And, you know, I mean, and that's when I really flew off the handle. I mean, we broke up in, I don't know, I remember it was my birthday, and it was around 2012 or 2013. I can't remember the exact time. But my dad was away in Hawaii on vacation. So I ended up going I got booted out. I didn't want to tell anybody because, like I said, again, I didn't like people knowing that anything was bothering me. So I was watching my dad's house anyway, so I just had to go stay at my dad's for a bit. And I don't know exactly how much I did. It was a lot. And, you know, it was like 4 days straight. I didn't sleep in 4 days. And I still remember sitting on the couch, and it looked like somebody was hanging from the little thing in the porch with these radio clothes, and the walls started moving. And then all of a sudden my left arm started going numb. I was getting chest pains. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I having a heart attack? And I'm panicking now. Like, what do? I went and hopped in the shower, and we tried to think that would work. Nothing was working. And then finally I drove myself to the hospital. And, you know, I mean, a stupid thing for me to do. I'm extremely grateful that I didn't get in an accident and kill somebody that night. You know, I did a lot of stupid things when I was drunk and stuff that I wish I never did. I'm just so grateful to this day that I didn't kill anybody. That's the biggest thing. I didn't kill or harm anybody who was doing it. But I drove to the hospital. They took me into emergency right away. I wasn't having a heart attack. I don't know if it was a panic attack or just the fact that I did way too many drugs. And the doctor's like, you need help. I'm like, oh, no. I'm just, you know, I mean, going through a rough time. I'm thinking this is enough to scare me now. I ain't going to do it again. So it was good. I went home and whatnot, and had to go back to work up north for a couple weeks or whatever, and came back, and boom, minute I got in the city, I'm calling my drug dealer, and I don't know, I did another, I don't know, a half ounce in a 24-hour period, and
God damn.
boom, next thing you know, I'm back in the ER again. And I still remember when I went to the nurse.
Hey, Derek.
When I pulled in there was cops there too. I'm like, oh my God. And of course I drove there again.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I pull in there and I go up to the nurse and I'm telling this, that. And then she looks at my chart or whatever. And she's, oh, you were here 2 weeks ago. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, so 33. She's like, do you not want to live to your fucking 34? And I'm just like, fuck, my heart just sunk. And I was really embarrassed then, right? But I mean, went in the hospital again. Nothing was wrong with me. Went back home. My dad was coming home the next day. Depression really started to sink in. And I was scheduled to go to work that Monday. I texted my boss the night before, and I'm like, hey, I need to come in and talk to you. And I went in and I'm like, hey, I got a problem. I can't stop doing it, and I need help. And that was the first time I kind of reached out for help and whatnot. So,
what was that like for you?
It was tough.
I mean,
it was definitely tough. But at the same time, I wasn't ready yet either. But anyways, what happened was, through our union, we have it's a pro care kind of thing. They send us to a couple different places. So first I got sent to I like an assessment counselor.
Yeah, like a substance abuse professional?
It could be. I'm not 100% sure. It was with family services. So they sent me there first. I went through the spiel and stuff and gave them what was going on and shit. And then they recommended that, I have some sort of treatment, right? And then and then they shipped me off to addiction counseling at Addiction Services. So, this is already going on a couple of days now. And then I'm starting to feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And all I'm wanting to get doing now is just trying to get back to work. I don't thinking I need help anymore. I can do this on my own. But it was already put in place that I needed some sort of treatment. So they came up with day treatment, because any treatment center was like 6 weeks to get into, and I'm like, well, 6 weeks for that, and then 4 weeks for treatment. I'm going to be off work for too long, and I need to get back to work, and it's not bothering me anymore. I'm starting to feel good. I feel good about myself and whatnot. So I was off on unemployment.
Okay.
So I was able to collect unemployment through EI sickness.
Mm-hmm. And
but anyway, so I started the day treatment. Oh, that's okay.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you, man. I've been doing like 20 times. I'm sorry.
No, you should. You stop me. Maybe someone else wants to say anything. But anyways, so they started me with the day treatment program. Well, once the day treatment program started going, I started using again. So I'm in their day treatment, telling them everything that I think they want to hear, bullshitting the situation and whatnot. But then I'd go home and use it. And then, that transpired throughout the whole 4 weeks. So obviously I didn't get anything out of it. I wasn't ready to quit yet. And stuff, but I needed to pass a drug test before going back to work. So I figured if I quit a week before the drug test, I should be good. So I quit a week before the drug test, went and took the drug test, failed the drug test. But, this is where my manipulation comes in. And the person who was in charge of my drug tests to be able to allow me to go back to work, I found some article somewhere that stated that cocaine could stay in your system for 12 weeks. And I'm like, oh yeah, it was less than 12 weeks ago that I did so much of it, and it's probably just still in my system. Then I swear, I haven't touched it
so much.
And he believed me, and the person believed me, and I was able to go back to work. And that was the thing. I was always able to manipulate the situation and get myself out of every situation. Again, my dad knew about this one. I don't know if my mom did or not, but well, she does now because she's listening. But yeah, it was just one of those things where I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to talk about it, and I obviously wasn't ready to quit, and stuff. So I just continued on down the journey I was going.
How was it when you were back to work?
When I was back to work, I mean, they were supposed to be able to drug test me every once in a while. Again, I was able to get myself out of every situation there. I mean, the drugs continued more and more and more. Um, my dad was usually gone in the weekends during nights, so I mean, it would give me the free for all on the weekends, and I mean, during the week, I'd pick up here and there and go and hide in my bedroom and do drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that continued on for a while, and then about 2015, I had a job profession change, and an opportunity opened up in the union as an instructor, and it got me off of the tools and into an office type experience and stuff. But the drugs continued, and the thing is, when I took the job, like the union knew about my problem, the one here, and but I just lied to them. You're they asked if I was clean and whatnot. Yeah, no, I'm clean. You guys can drug test me anytime you want, and this and that, and whatnot, and I started working here. But the guilt, the shame, all these things were just building up over the years. The guilt from hockey. By then I'm almost done playing senior hockey. I had that keeping or filling that void for a few years, but as I started getting worse at that, that void wasn't working anymore, and just things continue to build. And I still wasn't able to talk about it with anybody or anything, right? So things just continued to get worse and worse.
So what finally did it for you?
Um, it was a bunch of things, I guess. It was getting to the point where I was lying about so much. Lying to everybody. I almost had my one vehicle repoed. But again, I was able to get myself out of the situation, get myself into a different vehicle and sell that one off to pay the repo company. But what did it, and what was my last use, was I started at my house. I grabbed one that night, did that, and then I ended up venturing out or whatever, and then I ended up at this building and grabbed another one on the way there, and I killed that one off pretty fast, and paranoia started kicking in like crazy. Like the thing with the drugs is, in the beginning it was fun, but by the end, it was 2 minutes of enjoyment followed by 6 or 7 hours of paranoia. Like it wasn't fun, but I just couldn't put it down anymore. Like I was doing it every day. Like I was spending $1,000+ a week on drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and but that last night it was just laying there and. I don't know if I was looking for attention that night, but I made a suicide call, like a suicide threat to somebody. And that person had called the cops. And I am so extremely grateful for that because of that today, I am alive and I'm here and I'm clean and sober. I don't know if I would have actually done it that night, but the suicide threats were creeping up more and more and more. And it was only a matter of time before it would actually happen, or I'd kill myself with drugs. One of the two. It was I was heading towards death. There was no institutions, no whatever. Death was all I was heading for, with the amount I was putting in my system. There was nights where I'd be going to bed with chest pains. I'm like, am I going to be waking up tomorrow morning? And I didn't care. I really didn't care.
So it was
So anyways, I was laying there. And then all of a sudden hear bang, bang, bang on the door. I'm like, what the hell? It's like 4:00 in the morning. So I go to the door. There's like 4 or 5 cops out there. I'm like, what the hell? How the hell did they find me? So they come in and like, oh, you made a suicide threat. I'm like, no, I was just playing around. Like, well, we can't leave you here. I'm like, we can either take you to a doctor or take you to jail. I'm sitting there thinking, and also my addict brain's working already. And I'm like, well, hey, if they take me to jail and let me out, nobody's going to know about this, right? I'm going to be in the clear, and I don't have to worry about anything, right? So I'm like, yeah, just take me to jail. I need to be out in time for work in the morning, right? Anyway, so they're putting the handcuffs on me, and they're like, yeah, you should call your dad. He's worried about you. And right there, my heart just sunk. I'm just like thinking like how worried my father is at that time. And then at that time, I knew I couldn't hide it anymore. So they took me to jail. I'm laying in the jail cell, and I'm like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I text my dad quick so that he knew I was going to be okay. And I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. I got to do something different. I need help. And so I sat in the jail cell. As soon as I got out, I called a friend to pick me up because I wasn't ready to go talk to my parents yet. Friend picked me up. I text my dad, "Okay, Dad, I got to work out some stuff. I'll make arrangements to come see you guys later." So then I started calling treatment centers. I had an in with a treatment center because a buddy had gone there earlier, and that was Options Okanagan out in Kelowna. So I called there, found out what I had to do to get there, called a finance place, which is Medicard, which finances, places like addiction centers and different things like that for people with even like bad credits. But even my credit was so bad at the time that I needed help. So I needed my dad to co-sign.
Yeah.
So once I got all that in place, I made the call to my dad. I'm like, "Hey, Dad, I'd like to meet you and Mom at the same time, whatever, 7:30 it was, and have a chat with you guys." And I met with my parents, and it was definitely tough, but I just sat there. I'm like, "Mom, Dad, I have a problem and I need help. I can't do this anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it was the biggest weight off my shoulders ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like lots of times using the drugs, I was so paranoid of getting caught. The buildup from the anxiety kept me using, kept me sick.
Yeah.
Because I was so worried about hiding it and getting caught, it kept me using.
Yeah.
So that weight, it was just like, holy smokes, I couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first point of reaching out and saying that I need help. I'm not right.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, my parents are loving and supportive. "Yeah, we'll do whatever you want." I'm like, "Dad, well, I need you to co-sign for this." Yeah, no problem. So co-sign for that. My mom and her boyfriend at the time made arrangements to drive me all the way to Kelowna. And then my dad made arrangements to pick me up with my pregnant sister at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was amazing. So I gave myself a week to get ready to leave. I remember one buddy says, "Go on one last hurrah." I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I've had enough hurrahs. I'm done."
Yeah.
Right. So I just made sure I went to meetings every day before I left, and then I made my check to treatment.
Awesome. We're gonna take a quick break here, and we'll get right back at it. So, I just like to say to the viewers, if you've got comments or questions or anything, there is going to be a segment at the end for the viewer's voice where we will get to all of your questions and comments. So if you got them, put them in the chat now, and we'll do our best to get to everyone. Okay, Derek, tell us about treatment. What was that like?
Treatment was amazing. Kelowna, amazing city to get clean in, obviously. It was a beautiful summer that summer. But the difference here between this time and last time was I was absolutely willing to do anything. And that's the thing I wasn't before. They tell me things at the treatment, like, "Yeah, fuck, I don't need that. I don't need this, don't need that," right? But when I went to treatment, I still remember, if they told me to bounce on one leg and pat my head and rub my belly and that would keep me clean, I would do that. When I went to treatment, I was up early in the morning doing my step work. I was always helping around the treatment center. I'd stay out of my room as much as possible, and we try to plan things or go to the beach or whatever, right? And I got to learn a lot about myself and build that foundation of recovery. And the treatment center I went to was great. Everybody who worked there was a recovering addict, I think, except for one person, like even down to the cook. Like you said, the treatment center was beautiful and stuff, and it helped me to definitely build that foundation of recovery and help me to let go of some of those resentments that I had built over the years. One of the big things that was obviously the mother of my daughter, and I was able to start letting that go, and whatnot. So, and amongst a lot of other things that had built up over the years, and I learned that it was okay to cry. I learned that it was okay to reach out and talk to people, be vulnerable, and all those things that men need to learn. Especially, everybody needs to learn, but especially men need to learn that it's okay to say, hey, I'm not feeling good. I need help. Right.
Absolutely. So did it stick? Did treatment
stick?
It
stuck. That was July 8th, 2017. And I just took my 4-year birthday here just a couple weeks ago. So it did
Awesome.
stick this time. Yeah.
I need to get like a confetti effect or something. Yay! Something like that.
Yeah.
Tell us about your first year. How was your first year clean?
First year was definitely it was a little bit of a roller coaster. Not gonna lie, I still remember sitting in treatment, and they talked about things like complacency and maybe not doing the things that are suggested. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go back and do everything suggested. And when I got back and I started using one of the programs here in Regina, and I had trouble fitting in at first. I kind of thought maybe it was a little clicky or whatnot, and I didn't
It's not
feel
clicky,
comfortable.
is it?
I don't know, but anyways, it was tough there. At first, and working with a fellow person in the program, and I was talking about that, and it's like, yeah, but are you sticking around after meetings? Are you talking to people? Are you reaching out? And I'm like, no. I'm like, aren't they supposed to just come up to me?
Yeah, you don't want to talk to those weirdos.
And you know what? And then I took it as advice, and I started reaching out. I started going for coffee after, and started hanging out with fellow addicts, and then recovery really started to take off for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously, and then I ended up getting a girlfriend, which another suggestion that you don't do another recovery a couple months in. And,
you can't do that.
Didn't work out because that didn't work out because I wasn't ready, and that sent me on a roller coaster. But I kept clean through all this, and it was all because of the stuff I learned through the program and learned in treatment. Sometimes it takes me a while to reach out. Sometimes I wait till I'm really struggling, but I always reach out, and I always pick up the phone, and I always call somebody, whether it's the one person I work with in the program, or I have a pretty good support group that I reach out to when I have to. So and the thing is, I stayed clean through that first year. I had a lot of ups and downs, and when I first got out of treatment, I wasn't sure what was going to happen with work, and everything worked out for me there. So it was definitely a roller coaster. But everything worked out in the end, and in the end of it, I stayed clean and sober throughout the whole thing. And I owe a lot to the program, and obviously to treatment and all that stuff.
So was it tough going back to work? Like when you come out of treatment, and like how long was it before you got back on the tools?
Well, I wasn't on the, like I said, I was an instructor at the time.
That's right. Sorry.
Yeah, so no problem. I was an instructor, so I had the 6 weeks of treatment, and then after I got out, I just took a couple days to get me back into the groove of things. And I wasn't sure. I had an issue with one of the persons that I worked with back then, and I didn't know if it was a good situation for me to go back into that situation. But then he ended up retiring, and then I was going to take over his role. So it was kind of a thing that worked out. And now, like, me and the guy are pretty good friends now too, because we were able to work through our differences, and once I stopped being a piece of shit, I was a lot easier to deal with, right? And when I start looking at my part in the situation, he may be an asshole, but he was my boss at the time, and I would do sometimes the opposite of what he told me to do. So he had a right to give me shit, but for some reason I was always blaming him. Right, but in the end, when you start getting clean and sober, you start looking at your part or your part of the highway or whatever street you want cliche you want to use. You start realizing your part in a lot of things throughout your life.
That sucks, right? Hey? Like some days that's just like, fuck me.
I know, right? Like, shit, man, I was a piece of shit, but the thing is, I'm not that person anymore. So and I'm pretty proud of that. So
So what's it like now?
Now, things are actually pretty amazing. You know what I mean? I got some promotions through work. I worked my way all the way up to me being the president of the International Union of Bricklayers and Allied Craft Workers Local in Saskatchewan, which, if I was still using, would have never happened. This is, an elected position, and, my peers have to approve of me getting into this position. And even though I didn't have to run against anybody, it just shows that, the people that knew I was running would trust me to do the job. And again, if I wasn't clean and sober, they probably wouldn't trust me to do this job, right? Mm-hmm. I recently just bought, my own house. Well, me and girlfriend together bought a house. Another thing that I never thought would ever be possible. I got my credit in such a bad situation, and when you're using drugs, you never have money, right? And you're like, well, how the hell am I going to afford this kind of a payment? But when you stop using drugs, you have a lot more money on your hands, so you can afford to buy these things, and we're able to go on trips, we're able to do all these things, and looking back, I still remember my using days. Even to go visit my sister, I could never go because I never had money, and when I went, I never had money when I was there. So when people were paying for supper, I was never able to chip in or anything. I had to be the mooching brother. And the last couple of times I went, I was able to pick up the tab and different things like that. And it makes you feel, and it's maybe materialistic things, but it makes you feel good that you're able to now do these things and stuff like that. So.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to go into the viewer's voice. We've got some comments here. So here we go. Okay, let's see here. Where to start? Holy cow!
Uh-oh. Do you have lots of questions?
I'm just spinning this wheel like it's a wheel of fortune here, spinning it. Well, there's a lot of comments. Let's just get through some comments. We've got Tammy Moore chiming in here. Thanks for the comment, Tammy. She says, "I'm so very proud of
Tammy.
you." We've got Wendy here. Thanks for chiming in, Wendy. I'm proud of you. Thank you for your
Wendy.
courage to share. We've got Steve. Thank you, Steve. And we've got,
thanks, brother Steve.
yeah, we've got another Steve here. Let me see here. He's got. Is it going to all show up? Yes, it is. He says, "I'm proud of you, bro. Always respected you as a player. Didn't know you well, but I've always heard through mutual friends how great of a dude you are. Keep leading. By you speaking out, you undoubtedly are helping someone who needs it." I need to make the comment stay on the screen longer for Steve here.
Thanks, Steve.
I'll always remember Steve's comment now because it went down. We've got Joel. Thank you, Joel, for watching. Thank you for commenting.
Thanks, son.
We've got Kathy here. Again,
No.
always more work to do, man. So the key is being ready, right? I am so thankful for the treatment center was ready and available. Oh, I lost her comment. When you were. And we've got Barb. I'm going to have to read him fast now. Barb, thanks for the comment. Did you go out to Kelowna because access in Saskatchewan was difficult before, or was the change of scene helpful?
You want me to answer that one, Dan?
Yes, please.
Yeah. There's a huge issue in Saskatchewan with the availability to addiction centers. I'm not going to lie. This is something that definitely needs to change here in the province of Saskatchewan. The reason I went to Kelowna, and this was a private one, so I had to pay, was because I knew I needed to get in now. If I would have went through the whole public system here in the province of Saskatchewan, it could have been 6 weeks, and then it would have been the same thing as before. I would have been back using it or not. I needed to get the treatment now, and this is something that we need to change here in the province of Saskatchewan or all across Canada with public treatment centers, or people when they need it, they can access it now. Because even detox center right now, there's waiting lists, and when a person is ready, they need to get in there now. Not, hey, I'm ready, and then a couple days go by, then they they lose interest or they get back onto whatever they're using. So yeah, that was it wasn't anything to do with the change of scenery. If I could have got into someone in Saskatchewan right away, I would have stayed and gone here. But I knew that wasn't going to be the case.
We've got I'm going to say her name wrong again. Jada, good. Very inspiring. I can relate to you in so many ways. I am learning a lot more about you that I never knew. You are a strong man. Getting sober is one of the hardest damn things in life. Thank you for the comment, Jada. We've got Kathy.
Thank you, Jada. That means a lot.
We've got Kathy chiming in with a comment or with a question. Do you have a sponsor?
Yes, I do. I have a great sponsor. I didn't want to talk too much about the stuff in the program, so I just used a fellow person or whatever. But yeah, I do have a sponsor who's an amazing sponsor.
We've got this person chime in. Interestingly, I went to high school in Indian Head with this guy way back in the day. What's up, Cameron? It's good to see you, man.
He's from Campsec too.
Well, unless it's a different,
unless
this is a different Cameron Merkel.
No, he moved to Indian Head. He moved to Indian Head after, so he did live in Campsec, and then he moved to Indian Head. So.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you, Cameron. What else do we got here? We've got Jacob just clapping his little heart out. Thank you for the comment, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
We've got Dana commenting. Thank you, Dana. Thank you for sharing your honesty.
Diana.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's Mom.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
So
Thanks,
very
Mom.
proud of you. She says she loves you. We've got Lawrence chiming in. So very proud of you, Derek.
Thanks, Lawrence. Much appreciated.
We've got Jeanette or Janet?
Janet.
Janet.
My godmother.
Oh, welcome,
Thanks,
Janet. Thank you. Got Jody. We've got...
Thank you.
Todd Tanya. Thank you, Derek, for sharing your story. You are helping others in their recovery with this. Todd and Tanya.
Oh, man.
Doing all right, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
All right. Let's keep going.
I made it through without crying. So there's my sister.
Yeah, so proud of you, the man you have become. We love you, Uncle Derek.
Thank you.
Oh, Terry, I apologize. I am not going to read this all before it disappears off the screen. But thank you, Terry. Thank you for being here tonight. I will never forget running into you at a recovery convention. It brought me hope and even more belief in recovery, having someone from back home. We've got Todd and Tanya again. Hope to see you at our men's retreat. Double T boarding. I hope I said that with the right. I hope I said that with the right inflection. Okay, well, it looks like the comments have died down. I don't know how many more Derek can take, anyways. Really glad you're here tonight, man. I'm really glad you decided to be a part of this project. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad I did it too. It was awesome.
Is there and I apologize. I know I interrupted you a few times, but we got through. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with tonight?
The biggest thing is we need to make sure that people know that it's okay to reach out, that it's not weak to reach out. I mean, for everybody for sure, but men in general. Like, I come from two industries, hockey and construction, where there's a huge stigma and a huge problem with drugs and alcohol and mental health. And these people need to know that it's not weak to reach out and say, I need help. I learned over the years that it was the most courageous thing that I ever did was to finally say, hey, I needed help. And people need to know this. Too many people are dying nowadays because they're scared to reach out. They're scared to ask for help. And that needs to change. People need to know that's okay. Anybody watching this, feel free to add me on Facebook or whatnot. And, you'll message me, call me, whatever you need. And if you just need someone to talk to or, started to be pointed in the right direction, I'm there for you. I'm there for any addict that wants to get help and get better. Because there is a better way of life. I can guarantee you. It's tough. It's not easy, but it is better, and it gets better with time. So, the biggest thing I can pass on to anybody, if you're struggling, just say, I need help. It's okay to say that I'm not okay. So thank you very much, Dan, for having me on. Definitely appreciate being on. I appreciate everyone's nice, kind comments. And like I said, I love you all, and I'll be here for anybody when they need help.
Hey, awesome, man. We're going to let you go. Thank you once again for sharing. Oh, wait.
Oh,
this is important, I think. Hashtag strong as fuck. In and out of that gym. Blessed to have you in my life. Yes.
That's my trainer. Love you, Ari. Thank you.
Yes. She had to get that one in before the end. Okay. Thank you, my friend. Take care. Oh, my God. Oh, no, we can't let this one. We got to get this one on the screen. We gotta get it. You have an amazing family and life now.
Thanks, Mom.
Okay.
Those are my niece and nephew, those two little ones. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Gifts of recovery. Okay.
Exactly.
This time for sure. We're going to let you go. Take care, my friend.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
Fostering change is our primary purpose here at Hard Knocks Talks. If you would like to contribute to ending the stigma around emotional pain, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Like and comment your thoughts on our posts. Let us come together with our lived and living experience as a resource that has the power to engage new thought processes, to promote new ideas, to broaden the spectrum of care, and to show the world that the lie is dead. We do recover, and we're here to show you how. Good night. And we're here to show you how. Good night. Derek, mute your phone.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
It's all